Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our January Tri-State Sustainability General Meeting. Hope everyone is doing well. And despite the comedic musings of Trevor, we're facing a serious issue here. As you all know, the Tri-State Sustainability Group is a hub of around 101 towns and about 10 legislative districts that are located throughout Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. My name is Brad Malatsky. I live in Cherry Hill by trade and by day, I guess. I'm a transactional lawyer with Dwayne Morris, who focuses on real estate and corporate transactions, as well as counsels clients on ESG and sustainability issues. I had the honor and pleasure of working with Jeff Nash and some of the other committee folks to help create the Camden County Sustainability Plan a few years back. Then pivoted to help Cherry Hill create their plan and worked with the school district to create their plan. I volunteer in a bunch of organizations like most of you do, and I sit on the boards of a couple of nonprofits that focus on sustainability and energy efficiency and the like, much like you all do. But above all, I'm a father and a family person. Like you all on the call, I am focusing on PFAS. And the more I learn, the more activated I continue to become, given that the chemicals, as noted in the intro, are found in just an unbelievable array of products, from cosmetics to shampoo to food wrapping, clothing to firefighting foam to furniture and carpet, stain-resistant materials. And these chemicals have been around, as noted, for decades. And it's only now that we're starting to really focus in on where are they and what damage could they possibly be doing. The good news, to the extent there is, the good news is that there are folks who care and who recognize the problems that PFAS and the related compounds potentially represent. With that in mind, it's my total pleasure and honor to welcome back our friend, Vice Chair of the Senate Environment and Energy Committee, Linda Greenstein. If you don't know the senator's work, she's been in the legislature since 2000, from 2000 to 2010. She was in the Assembly. She then moved over to the Senate from 2010 through now. She went to Vassar undergrad, got her MA at Hopkins, got her law degree at Georgetown, has been a law professor, was also an associate, a deputy attorney general in New Jersey, and an ADA in Philadelphia. And she comes armed with not only her big brain, but her passion for these issues. Senator Greenstein, are you there?
I am here. Could you hear me?
I can. Very exciting to see you live, and thanks for all your good work. I hear also, my understanding is that congratulations are in order in connection with the concrete bill, which passed.
I know it. The timing couldn't be better because it just got signed, I think, on Monday.
Good stuff. So why don't we take a minute? Just what sort of sparked your interest in this area, and talk a second about the concrete bill, which is not what we're talking about today, but let's learn a little bit about that for half a second.
Well, I've been interested in environmental issues for a long time. So I was very glad that when I got to the Senate, I was able to be on the environmental committee. And I am always working on the different issues along with Senator Bob Smith. We're both into many of the major issues that are going on right now. And I think we're doing very important work in that committee for sure. I really only got onto the carbon concrete bill at the end of the last session. And, I was trying to think back of exactly what brought me onto the bill, and I'm not totally sure. There were others working on it at the time, and it wasn't moving forward. And it was near the end of the term, and I got on it, and I just had a general sense of what needed to be done, which was to get a lot of disparate parties on the same page. And we actually did it in the Senate, and we passed it through the Senate. And then we were in a new term, so we had to start all over again. And what the challenge was that, the building trades and groups like that had to be brought on board, and they were quite negative on the whole thing. But they finally did join us. We just had every type of group involved. They were among the most challenging, but what I did is before it went through, it wasn't moving through the Assembly, and before it went through there, I decided I was going to try to get the governor's office on board. Usually you don't do it in that order, But what I did is I got the building trades guy to be in a meeting with me and the governor's office, and we hashed out the issues. And the governor's office said, well, you know, if you get it to us, it looks like the bill is in pretty good shape and we think we're going to go through with it. Then we got the assembly on board, thanks to Assemblyman McKeon. I saw you had, I guess, the day it passed in his house, and then it went through. So it was a matter of taking a very long time, but still we were able to just bring all the groups on board with it. And, you know, the goal of that legislation is to provide incentives. That was another issue. There were so many different approaches that were being looked at. The building trades didn't like some of the approaches, but they were okay with the incentive approach. So it provides incentives for New Jersey concrete manufacturers to adopt practices and technologies that lower their lifestyle greenhouse life cycle, I should say, greenhouse gas emissions. And it provides a corporation business tax credit to, again, to manufacturers who successfully produce and deliver concrete with reduced greenhouse gas emissions, and it's for public projects. Concrete, as some of you may know, is the most abundant and widespread building material, but it has the hidden cost of very high carbon emissions. And we produce 30 billion tons of it globally every year. The main binding ingredient in concrete is called Portland cement, which is produced through an extremely carbon intensive process. And believe it or not, that alone accounts for 7 to 8% of all global carbon emissions. So being able to do something about this project will really reduce the amount of carbon in the environment. We worked with stakeholders across the spectrum, from building and construction trades to environmental advocates to concrete manufacturers, to develop a version of the bill that was workable for everyone. And I'm thrilled that it was just signed by the governor.
It's great stuff.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just saying great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's an important bill. It will help decrease our carbon emissions. And I just want to thank all of the groups that were involved in it. And any support that any of you gave is also very appreciated. So,
well, the group as a whole, I don't want to speak for everybody, of course, because there's hundreds of people, but the group as a whole are always interested in the issues that you're interested in. And so we'd be happy to champion them along with you to the extent you need people to show up and testify. So let's pivot from the concrete bill, which again was very important, and as noted, that it provides an incentive. So it wasn't a stick, it's a carrot, in order to incent people to operate in a particular way that they might not have otherwise operated.
And we'll have to see how it works. I hope it'll work.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of focus being put to bear on concrete. As you noted, that's one of the biggest materials that emit carbon that goes into the building. So you would think that the trades would be on board with things that would support kind of their workers and things that would support the environment. And so it's good that everybody came together there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's pivot back to PFAS. Not so good. Ubiquitous, frankly, everywhere. You and the other senator put together a package of bills that, you know, having seen kind of where PFAS is moving around in the other states, these bills, if when passed, will represent kind of the most aggressive set of bills that are out there, you know, bar none. California's got some good stuff already, and some other states do as well, but these 4 bills are extraordinarily impressive. So kudos again for the effort. Real quick, I'll describe them so everybody can have at least a baseline understanding. And then I'm going to ask you again, like, how did we get involved and what do you think the likely outcome is? So we've got, again, 4 bills in no particular order. Bill 3180 requires public water systems to have an alternative water source if their water system has exceedances of PFAS beyond the maximum contaminant level. So again, common sense approach. If your water system is giving you water that exceeds the standard, they have to provide alternative sources of water and notify you. Again, smart. 3179 requires notice to the public by a water system within 10 days if there's an exceedance. So again, not just sitting back and trying to fix it, but letting us, the public, know that there's been an impact. It also requires landlords to notify tenants within 3 days if they've been notified that their water is impacted, and the landlords are required to post notice. Again, common sense notification so that the consumer, us, are informed. 3176 requires a study of the maximum contaminant levels, called MCLs, for drinking water. So again, focus the DEP's attention on PFAS, let us know, study it, come back and report back on what the maximum contaminant levels should be, because there's been a lot of movement of late with DEP and with with the EPA changing their standards back in August of 22 from 75 parts per trillion down to 0.0004 parts per trillion. So a little bit of a shift at the EPA's level that's getting a lot of attention, both negative and positive. So again, 3176 will require DEP to report and study, and report the maximum contaminant level, and review their existing technology for removal of PFAS from our drinking water. So what's out there and what's working. So again, those 3 bills, important. But the keystone feature of the 4-bill package is 3177, which does all kinds of really important things, including setting up a reporting regime for manufacturers who are adding PFAS to products so that NJDEP sees that. And to the extent they don't report, there's a finding methodology. It creates a required report. And then to the extent that people aren't following appropriate rules, it starts to ban product sales that have these additive PFAS elements to them, including cosmetics, cookware, food packaging, carpet, and stain resistance that are added to furniture. It also requires labeling so that to the extent cookware has PFAS in handles or in the surface, it requires labeling to address what's in there and how much. And it mandates that DEP does a source study and education of the public on where PFAS is coming from and where in the states there are negative impacts. And it requires the DEP to report back to the legislature and the governor on a yearly and 10-year basis. So again, a reporting regime, a regulatory regime relative to banning certain substances and products from sale that can be harmful to the consumer, us. So again, kudos, Senator, for the focus and attention on this important issue. Talk to us a bit about how did this come about and how did your staff and you get interested in this? And how did it result in these 4 bills?
Well, you know, I as I told you, I just, like you folks, I just read up on these things and I hear about them, as does Senator Smith, who talk about them. And this particular topic, I don't know if any of you saw that movie. Is it called Dark Waters?
Sure, yes.
Recent,
Mark Ruffalo.
I think, yeah, right. And I think it was on Netflix, perhaps. And I saw it and I was thinking a lot about these kinds of chemicals because that was what it was about. So that got me thinking, and there's so much to read on this topic. In fact, I love that Trevor Noah piece that you had there. I'd like to show that when we have the hearing, because he's so funny, really. And so that's really how we got to talking about it. And Senator Smith said, if you want to do it, take it on. And, you know, we have some great staff in the Senate office working with us, and we developed a couple of these bills. I did want to tell you, 2 of the bills, it looks like, I believe it's a total of 5 bills.
Okay,
and 2 of
great.
them, they're saying that we've gotten various feedback and we're unlikely to move in the current form. One of them is S3180, which would require certain water purveyors to identify and use alternative water sources where PFAS exceeds maximum contaminant level. Based on the feedback from DEP, it's unlikely that this legislation would move at this time. And there's a potential substitute bill, S3180, that would accomplish similar goals. So I would have to say that would be one of the bills that would not be done. Another one that's probably not going to be done is S3178, which would require the DEP to perform an annual assessment. there are thousands of PFAS chemicals that are currently unregulated, as many of you know. And while we certainly hope to see New Jersey regulate the ones that we can, it would pretty much be an impossible task for DEP to study thousands of chemicals every year. And so this bill sort of sounds like that's what we're asking them to do. And it's unlikely this would go forth because it's kind of unrealistic. The most important bill in the package is that I think it's 3177. And as you mentioned, there is a small part of it where we're asking them to completely change how they do things and to not use PFAS in products, cosmetics, cookware, things that touch the face and the mouth, essentially. And the reason carpeting is included is because babies crawl on it. So fabrics, carpeting, all of those kinds of things are dangerous. And from what I understand, there are a number of companies like Sephora, which is a very well-known cosmetics company. Women know this company, and they are banning it. I mean, they have green labels on the cosmetics. And if they haven't banned it completely, they are pretty close to doing it. We've been meeting with a lot of the stakeholders, and yesterday or the day before, we met with the Food Council, and we were talking about foods. Some of the people that they had speaking to us told us that virtually all foods have foods, and it's actually the wrapping for the foods. It's not the foods themselves, I suppose. Most of those have removed the PFAS. They're claiming, and this is really strange, that the only thing that still has it is popcorn wrappers, like when you pop it in the microwave or whatever. And they are on the verge of getting it, but I guess they haven't figured out a method to use that would be as, but they're trying. They're really trying to get it done because these companies are claiming they are like the only ones that are left that still have not removed PFAS. They make it sound fairly rosy. They are not against what we're trying to do, and they say many of the companies have already done it. So we're going to have to check that out. One of my thoughts is that the ideal way to do this would be to really figure out what we need to do here, like who has not removed it. And then for each individual type of product to have a time frame, so that I would not want to say to a company that says, oh my goodness, if I had 3 or 4 years, I could do this, and we only give them 2 years. I would much rather set it up where people are able to, get these products out. And if they're close to doing it and they've been working on it, that's something I would like to encourage. I don't want to punish them. I want to encourage what they're trying to do. Of course, the ultimate goal is to get it out of the water supply too. And I know that DEP is working very hard on that. They have lots of efforts in the department to remove it from water. But again, you have to say, what are we removing? It isn't going to be 10,000 different chemicals. It's going to be the ones that they focus on. So that's another thing I have to figure out exactly which chemicals of the thousands of them that we'll be focusing on. But I think I feel closer than I did in the beginning, because I'm not getting defensive reactions from the companies. Like as we talk to the different industries, we've had meetings with the chemical industry, the food industry. We have some other meetings coming up, and nobody is being defensive. Nobody is remotely trying to say, well, these aren't so dangerous and it may take us 100 years to get them out. Everybody seems like they're really trying to get them out, and they're acknowledging danger. So I feel good about that.
That's awesome and really appreciated, Senator. As always, your time and the effort on sustainability and on these issues is greatly appreciated. We've included you in the link to the chat. To the extent, again, the members can be helpful, please let us know. And we're at your beck